and subject matter experts and the financial support of some incredible local businesses. But we have been around for 16, this is now our 16th season. We were founded in 2005 by serial entrepreneurs Scott Littman and Dan Mallon. And the competition has grown so much year over year. And we've now reached the point where over 15,000 Minnesotans have participated in the competition. And we have given away $3.4 million in non-dilutive seed funding to those competitors. And our alumni companies have gone on to raise over $500 million. And we're just proud and excited to continue to do this, and excited to have the opportunity to share our division showcases with you virtually, even during the pandemic. So hello and welcome to any of you who are joining us from outside of Minnesota. We're really glad that you're here. Jamie, if you want to go to the next slide, we would not be able to even do any of the work that we do without the financial support of the foundations and corporations that support us. But particularly, I want to thank all of these wonderful companies that you see on the screen who specifically sponsor the Food, Ag, and Beverage division. Big, small companies, industry, subject matter experts. Many of these companies participate also as volunteer judges in our divisions across Minnesota Cup. So thank you to all of you who are giving of your time and resources to support startups in this space. And with that, I'm going to give an extra special thank you to General Mills and to 301 Inc. and introduce Pete Speranza, who works in their 301 Inc. business, looking for and evaluating new food startups across the country. Pete played a really central role in helping to found the Food, Ag, and Beverage division within Minnesota Cup a few years ago. So we're grateful to have General Mills and 301 Inc. involved, and I'll turn it over to Pete.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. Yeah, no, thanks everyone. Yeah, Pete Speranza, 23-year veteran in the food industry, all with General Mills, but to Jessica's point, has been one of the leaders on a kind of a startup ourselves as a venture arm within General Mills. So it's been a fun 8-year journey. And along that time, we were super excited about supporting the local scene. So about 7 years ago, help put together the food division within this amazing Minnesota Cup. But first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining today virtually and supporting these great startups. I mean, that's what it's all about, is spotlighting and supporting the great innovation that happens in the state of Minnesota. Also, I want to thank Jessica and Jamie. They didn't even spend a minute on thinking that this event wouldn't happen. It was all around how do we convert and move it to an online venue right away, because we want to make sure that we're always available and can really leverage technology, right, to really support brands in a differential way, but in a way that is meaningful. So I super appreciate you guys and the flexibility and even the thought around that this was never going to happen, and just make it into an online event. And then lastly, just to Jessica's point, 301 Inc. and I are very proud just to be not just a catalyst and lead sponsor, but really to be an active partner and trying to make an impact to the food innovation ecosystem in Minnesota. Like I said earlier, it's 7 years we've been doing it, and love it every year. And I always look forward to this event, especially this competition in the top 10. And this is where everybody says honed in their business plans and has really shown they got such a spark of an idea. And this year's no different than others, a real strong showing across ag tech, and food, and you'll see that soon. But so good luck on the competition, and looking forward to seeing what's going on today. Thanks.
Thank you, Pete. And if we go to the next slide, I'm going to quickly ground us in what's going to happen, sort of how these showcases will work. Each company, each one of our 10 semifinalists will have 3 minutes and 3 slides to present their business to you. Then following those 3 minutes, I will play a very high-tech alarm sound on my iPhone through Zoom. And that is the cue for the team and to everyone that 3 minutes is up. Then Jamie will chime in and ask a question of that team that was submitted by our Food, Ag, and Beverage division judges, who are evaluating these businesses and will determine who will move on to the finals. And then Jamie will introduce the next team, and we'll just keep going through all 10. But pay very close attention. Be thinking about who your favorite is, who really stands out to you, because at the end, we will be giving away $500 furnished by General Mills to the public voted best pitch winner. So that you have a role to play, and we're just excited to have you here. And I will let Jamie kick it off with the first team.
I was on mute. Okay. First up, we have Augie. So Augie, if you want to unmute and turn on your video, Augie's representing Clo Vegan. Let's make sure he's here. Do we have you, Augie?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yay. Okay, kick it off. Floor is yours.
Thank you. The Clo story. Chloe is the inspiration behind the Clo brand. That's why we created Clo, to give our daughter Chloe and others suffering from an autoimmune disease called eosinophilic esophagitis, causing inflammation of the esophagus, a sense of normalcy and safety. It is a very complicated disease that depletes the body of essential nutrients necessary for proper development and physical growth. Chloe suffers terrible symptoms, including multiple ICU visits and myself administering CPR, rushing to the hospital with her. Chloe also experiences firsthand hives, choking, skin rash, loss of appetite, vomiting, heartburn, difficulty swallowing, severe food allergies, uncontrolled asthma, delay in physical growth. In many cases, like Chloe, patients develop severe damage to the esophagus tracts due to the lack of nourishment and failure to thrive caused from multiple food allergies and intolerance to so many foods. Some, like Chloe, must rely on a feeding tube for nutrition on a daily basis. Chloe required a feeding therapist to help reintroduce foods into her diet. They also worked with her on food sensitivities towards textures, tastes, and smells of foods. Imagine living your days like this. Slide 2, please. Our pizzas are crafted with love, humility, and hope by award-winning chef Robert to offer a plant-based pizza solution for Chloe to have safe and healthy pizza, along with others. Some of the key ingredients that we use to produce the world's healthiest frozen pizza include meatless sausage, meatless pepperoni made with beets, roasted red peppers, mushrooms, red beans, white beans. Our vegan cheese is made with turmeric, cauliflower, oat milk, and we have patent pending technology on our vegan cheese, which we are humbled to showcase. We also have a vegetable infused crust made of kale, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli. This technology was not around 4 years ago. Slide 3, please. How will Chloe have a positive impact on the Minnesota economy and winning the Minnesota Cup to further our business? Tactically, we will be shipping Clo pizzas all over the country with the recent approval of Amazon.com and to all other customers on a worldwide country basis. We will also be building out a new food production facility in central Minnesota to keep up with the growing demand of meatless pepperoni and meatless sausage. Thank you for your time.
Good job, Augie. Okay, glad you mentioned the build out. So the judges were excited about this planned build in central Minnesota. Do you intend to produce all of the components in-house, or will some of it be outsourced outside of the state?
We are focused right now on our meatless proteins in central Minnesota, which is the city of Sauk Center. The city is very excited to host and to partner with us. Eventually, we are looking at bringing all components back to Minnesota. We did have a strategic move in January going from rice milk on our cheese to oat milk, which is also locally sourced here in Alexandria and produced in Alexandria, Minnesota. We are humbled to be working with that partner as well.
Great. Thank you, Augie. Good job. So you can mute and hide your video. Up next, we have Miriam from Hoyo. So Miriam, if you want to turn on your video and unmute, we'll get you ready to go.
Okay.
There you are. Great.
Hi, my name is Miriam Mohammed, and I come from a refugee family. I have watched the struggles of refugee women who often are the head of household. These refugee women experience language and cultural barriers in the US. Currently, 40% of refugee women are employed in the US. The International Refugee Committee estimates if refugee women given better access to jobs and fair wages, they could increase US GDP by 1.6 billion. This earning potential has tremendous impact as it increases the number of choices women can make for their families. This is why my co-founder, Matt, and I started Hoyo. Hoyo is the Somali word for mother, and every Somali mother, like my sisters, have been making sambusa since childhood. We created a business centered around an exciting scale in order to empower Somali women through Somali food. Next slide, please. Sambusas are delicious triangle hand food filled with spiced meat or lentils, and they are consumed every day in the Somali community. They're also serving during special occasions and to honor guests. They are a whole meal in a handheld pocket, so they are perfect for breaking fast during Ramadan. I felt that because sambusas are so delicious and so important to the community, but also very labor intensive, that a frozen option will fill a market need. At the same time, it could provide a safe place for women of my community to learn critical employment skills in the US while doing something they already know how to do. Originally, we sold frozen sambusa in the Somali community, but quickly discovered that the average non-Somali consumer loved sambusa as tasty, unique addition to their diet. To date, we are producing product out of a shared kitchen for 2 distributors who distribute our product to 61 stores. We have employed 15 Somali women and are experiencing year-on-year sales growth of 50%. Third slide, please. Our first step to scaling up the business is to penetrate the remaining 500 stores serviced by our current 2 distributors. In order to do so, we will need an expandable commercial production facility. With commercial production facility, our vision is to expand nationally. We dream of a day when Hoyo can be in every grocery store in America. Just imagine how many jobs will be created for refugee Black women. Matt and I did not start Hoyo to make sambusa as good as they are. We started the business to help create new opportunities for forcibly removed families. Every product sold helps create a job for a woman in the community, a job that brings with it dignity, stability, and hope for their families. Thank you.
Great job. Perfect timing. Okay, question here from the judges. What are your plans for scaling, knowing that your focus is on a handmade food product?
I think our scale is, our plan is to have a kitchen and hire almost over 100 women who can produce. Now we produce monthly 12,000. We're hoping we can produce at least 30 or 40,000 a month, which gives us an opportunity also to hire more women. That's our plan.
Great, that sounds good. All right, good job. Feel free to mute and turn off video. Up next, we have Jillian from Mostly Made. Jillian.
Hi.
Hello, we hear and see you. Go for it.
Great. I'm Jillian McGarry. I'm the head of Hot Dish at Mostly Made. We help families cook dinner with no chopping or prep. The idea began when I was bringing meals to my sister-in-law during treatment for breast cancer. The bulky pans wouldn't fit in her freezer, and one day I realized all the work of cooking was chopping the veggies and browning the meat, but once that was done, she could just assemble the meal in minutes. So I started bringing just the fillings, each one stacked nicely in her freezer and could be pulled out whenever the family needed a quick meal. Today, our Our packages are in 35 Minnesota grocery stores, including Kowalski's, Lakewinds, and Festival Foods. They retail for $12.99, about the same price as a rotisserie chicken and a bag of frozen peas. My sister-in-law is now celebrating 5 years cancer-free, and we've donated 1,500 meals through our Random Acts of Casseroles program. Each package serves 4 to 6 people, fits a 9x13 pan, and can be assembled in minutes with items from your pantry. Just spoon the enchilada filling into tortillas. You can even make tater tot hot dish with our shepherd's pie mix. You would never know it's a frozen meal. Next slide, please. Our target market is busy families who care about what they eat, a group that's arguably most in need of dinner help, but not well served by the meal kit space. Since moms of school-age kids buy 50% of the food eaten in America, it's significant opportunity. Families have turned to frozen pizza and takeout, but that's not a great solution either. 54% of families report feeling guilty they don't make healthier food choices, and not cooking is a major source of guilt. Mostly Made helps them prepare a meal they'll feel good about. By doing the hard part of the cooking and letting customers assemble, Mostly Made has a better user experience than other frozen dinners. You aren't just microwaving a tray, you get to make it exactly how your family wants, even without cheese. No other frozen meal gives you as much flexibility or taste as fresh. Next slide, please. People want to cook, and it turns out assembling food boosts positive feelings and makes us love the meal even more. Psychologists call it the IKEA effect. Quote, a cognitive bias in which consumers place a disproportionately high value on products they partially created. In studies, when it comes to healthy food, people like their own preparation better than the same recipe ready-made. They also estimated that it was healthier and had fewer calories. By allowing home cooks to add fresh ingredients and customize assembly, Mostly Made's customers get the psychological boost of home cooking even when they don't have time to chop and prep. 90 years ago, cake mixes simplified baking. Today, baking mixes are a $4 billion category. I bake a cake 4 times a year, but I cook dinner every night. Mostly Made is going to change the way people cook a fresh dinner and create a multi-billion-dollar freezer cooking category.
Good timing. There it was right there. Good job, Jillian. Okay, question for you. You mentioned IKEA, and some might say IKEA can also cause frustration, but we accept it because of the cost. Do you think your product can offer enough convenience for the price point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a 4-piece chicken nugget Happy Meal at McDonald's is $3.65. My enchilada filling is $3.25 a portion. I mean, it's the same price or less than buying food from a fast food restaurant, certainly much less than going to Chipotle, which is, you know, $6 to $10 for each serving you get or each portion. And again, it's the same price as a rotisserie chicken and a bag of frozen peas. And, you know, customers today aren't necessarily just looking at cheap food. They want something healthy and they want the ability to customize. You know, nobody's like freestyling how their coffee table is going to look from IKEA. There isn't a lot of room for creativity, but with this product, you can actually add to it what you want. If you want to put it in a spaghetti squash or a stuffed pepper, it kind of adds to the experience rather than causing frustration.
Awesome. Great job. All done. So, and a reminder to the audience too, if you guys have questions for any of the teams, the Q&A is open. And so panelists are there to answer if you want to ask them, ask away. All right. Thanks, Jillian.
Q&A then.
What's
Thanks.
that?
I said, I'll see you in the Q&A.
That's right. All right. Up next, we have Nat from Otrify.
Hi, guys.
There you are. Okay. You're ready to go.
Well, hello, Ultra fans. When we think about food, we think about all the good things, like the color, the smell, and the taste. What we do not think about is paper. Well, except for me. My name is Nat. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Otrify, and I constantly think about the 200 billion pages of paper that exist in the food industry today. Now, for this box of Cheerios, General Mills is required by law to document all the standard food safety regulation, as well as its HEART-safe and gluten-free certifications. To do this, hundreds of document pages are needed for each and every one of its 20 ingredients. And it's not just General Mills. Anyone who touches an ingredient here has to maintain and shares its documents, from growers all the way to retailers. So for this 1 box that has 20 ingredients and 3 claims, more than 20,000 pages of documents are needed to be created, organized, and shared by everyone involved. And that was just one product. Now, unfortunately, all the information is still managed very manually via paper, email, and spreadsheets. Next slide, please. So here at UltraFi, we've created a platform that automates this process and allows businesses to focus on making great food. We help companies meet regulatory requirements faster by automating mundane activities. Our intuitive communication platform can enable faster onboarding time, and our natural language processing can quickly highlight any potential problems along the way. Finally, through the data that we collect, we can provide actionable insight that improves supply chain performance, such as compliance status or supplier's response rate. By using UltraFi, our clients save time, push their product to market faster, thus more sales, improve the quality of their supplier base, and get actionable insight that lowers supply chain associated risk. Now, earlier this year, we deployed the beta version of our enterprise platform and launched pilot with Cargill and Kemp's, the 2 major food manufacturers in the state. Since our beta launch, we've UltraFi'd thousands of documents, saved hundreds of hours, and generated over $100,000 in revenue. In fact, I'm excited to share that Cargill Protein team has now incorporated UltraFi into their daily workflow, and we are currently in discussion to expand our services even further. Now, partnership like this provide us with an advantage to scale quickly. Next slide, please. For example, as we onboard Cargill, they will naturally start sending information to the vendors and clients through our system. As those partners are exposed to the benefit of UltraFi, they will too become our customers. This creates a network effect where one power user will result in thousands of new accounts. Now, UltraFi is not just replacing paper. We're collecting large amount of data from farming practices, food safety, and supply chain. In the future, this data will enable us to trace information along the entire food chain and give everybody a peace of mind. So I'd like to encourage all of you, reach out to me today, find out how you can become an Ultra fan, and together we can create the food system of the future. Thank you.
All right, great job. Okay, question here. Can you detail your plan to get large manufacturers on board and then filter it down to smaller groups?
Yeah, absolutely. This is quite a big plan, but so we right now we're targeting very because of manufacturers. So Cargill we already have a good relationship with. I mean, I got someone from General Mills here as well, but we already found the right quality assurance person from General Mills to be talking to. We'll have a demo coming up next month. So super excited about that. And like, you know, our original plan before COVID was go to trade show and things like that. But now it's really about like direct marketing, like reach out by email, LinkedIn, and get those introduction from our existing clients to get through. Now, in terms of after we get those major manufacturers, naturally, as I mentioned, those manufacturers will be sending data requests to their suppliers, the smaller side manufacturers, and everyone will be exposed to UltraFi that way. And seeing how easy to use, how simple UltraFi help the major food manufacturer to manage their supply network, the smaller manufacturer will just naturally approach us and want to use UltraFi for their own benefit as well. So I hope that helps.
Great, great answer. All right, you're done. You can turn off video and mute. Up next, we have Christopher from Perennial Foods.
Great.
Oh, there you are. All right, great. Take it away.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Christopher from Perennial Foods. We're a modern grain company focused on the future of farming. To understand what we do, I first need to tell you about the challenges agriculture faces. You can go to the next slide here. Life depends on soil. Our state is built on the once black gold beneath our feet, but our farming practices have eroded the wealth of our soils in a system that contributes 1/4 of climate emissions. We need a new agriculture. Now, an elegant reversal is possible. We can fight climate change by returning lost carbon to our soils through perennial crops. Perennials are plants that come back year after year. They have huge root systems, which have big impacts for farmers and the environment. Perennial grains have never existed before, and Kernza is the first perennial grain crop. It's a cousin of wheat, and it's super delicious. Unlike row crops, Kernza builds soil by pumping CO2 from the atmosphere into the soil, making it a really promising, scalable solution to climate change. In fact, returning carbon to our soil is the cheapest, largest negative emissions strategy we have. Farmers want to grow Kernza, and the potential environmental impacts are huge, but it doesn't have a supply chain. Next slide, please. Perennial Foods is the new supply chain for Kernza. Our mission is to decarbonize agriculture and recarbonize our soil. We're bringing delicious, climate-positive food staples to market and making it easy for anyone to take meaningful action on climate change. We're a grain processor built on equipment innovation, agile processing, and perennial crops. At our core, we're engineers and problem solvers, building all of our own processing equipment from scratch and making it easy for anyone to bring Kernza into their pantry. We just finished a successful crowdfunding campaign to launch Kernza flour direct to consumer. Kernza has been in development for 2 decades, including by researchers at the U. Millions of public dollars have been invested in Kernza, and now our team is leading the private commercialization efforts on the crop. Next slide, please. Saving the planet has always meant doing less. Drive less, fly less, buy less. It also often means sacrificing for an inferior product. Kernza is different. It has an amazing depth of flavor and goes well in bread, baked goods, and beer. And with Kernza, the more delicious cookies you bake or sandwiches you buy, the more you help fight climate change. As breeding continues to improve the crop, Kernza will compete globally with wheat, and other perennial crops in development will come online, laying the foundation for a singular moment to reimagine our relationship to soil. Today, we need to keep building the supply chain so we can realize the potential of perennial agriculture tomorrow. So please join us. Let's build the future of farming.
Great job, Christopher. Okay, here's your question. Do you have exclusive access to Kernza varieties to help prevent being overrun by a competitor?
Yeah, so Kernza is developed by the U and by the Land Institute, which is a nonprofit in Kansas. The Land Institute has a trademark on the name Kernza, and it's a small group of folks commercializing the product. So we're the first to market as a wholesaler, first to market with a direct-to-consumer product, but we don't have an exclusive agreement with them to process and sell Kernza. But there is, we recently joined a $10 million grant that the U got as an advisory committee in their supply chain development, and are at the center of developing a Kernza business association that will sort of set the stage for how the supply chain will develop. And I think that our strategy really is, one, being at the center of this new crop and this new supply chain as it comes online, and two, while early acreages are low, really being able to build relationships and be an important early mover that can have a significant part of the market as it starts to grow, to position ourselves for the future opportunities. Cool. Thanks so much.
Great, good job. Okay, next we have Alina from SoilLogix.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right, take it away.
Thanks. The world is getting crowded and hungrier, and people are rightly concerned about the future. We're somehow expecting farmers to sustainably grow 70% more food by the year 2050. But how can farmers take care of everyone else when they're struggling with financial problems of their own? Clearly, without a financial incentives, farmers can't bear the added cost to adhere to the changing consumer demand. This is why we started SoilLogix. Our mission is to solve the interrelated problems of sustainably growing more food while making farmers profitable. The specific problem we address is that soil nutrient levels vary acre by acre in a farmer's field. But farmers don't have a cost-effective way to get insight into this variability. This means they're over-applying scarce and expensive inputs, things like fertilizers and chemicals, while getting less than optimal yields. This means less money in a farmer's pocket, and it causes environmental damage, some of which can be seen right here in Minnesota with the degradation of our once pristine lakes because of agricultural runoff. The solution to this is precision agriculture, and farmers have invested over $25 billion in this already. And there's 2 key components to precision agriculture. Firstly, tools that allow for the precision application of inputs, and farmers have already invested heavily in this. Secondly, however, and what is currently the missing link, are tools that allow for precision analysis to tell the precision application tools where to put the right inputs. Next slide. Our solution provides this missing link, namely precision soil analysis, that finally allows farmers to unlock the value of their soil and precision agriculture. Our autonomous system is called Soil Optimizer, and it performs accurate, granular, and actionable insights into soil health. Our portable soil lab in a box can be placed on the back of a Gator, a tractor, or Kubota. It gathers and analyzes soil and immediately uploads this data to our soil platform. Our solution analyzes 10 soil metrics at the root level, compared to competitors who can only analyze 3 to 5 soil metrics and are much more expensive. This makes our solution uniquely scalable to solve this global problem. Based on our last 3 years of research, we've determined we can increase yields by 8% while reducing chemical and fertilizer use by 10 and 20%. Now, this is huge. More concretely, this would equate to a net farm profitability increase in the US alone of $9 billion. And looking globally, our impact can be even larger, giving us a market size of $22 billion. Next slide. With so much at stake, our business is committed to solving the problems of sustainably growing more food while making farmers profitable. Thank you so much for your time, and happy to take any questions.
Great job. Okay, here is a question from your judges. What steps have you taken to explore partnerships for bigger market access beyond building relationships with farmers? For example, equipment and big ag companies.
Yeah, absolutely. We've definitely reached out to a couple already. We haven't solidified any partnerships specifically. We have signed LOIs with some of the largest agronomy companies, giving us access to about 100,000 acres already. And we want to use those acres to specifically test our technology and value proposition, and from there continue to scale to larger ag partners to deploy our products.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, the Sonobloom team. I know we have today Ariane and Brett.
Hi, can you see me?
Yep, looks good.
Cool.
All right, I'll let you take it away.
All right. These are so awful. I'm not even going to bother trying dairy-free yogurts anymore. They taste gross, they're too sweet and sugary. This one is filled with so many derivatives, cornstarch, and additives. Ugh. Who wants to eat chemically derived crap? And gums? What are gums doing in my yogurt? I just wish there was a dairy-free yogurt with a clean label. I'm dying to find something that both tastes good and is made of pronounceable ingredients.
Excuse me, miss. Did you just ask for a clean labeled, nutritious, and flavorful plant-based yogurt? I have a solution. Next slide, please.
What is this?
I'm so glad you asked. This is Sonobloom, the yogurt of your dreams. Sonobloom is the first and only sunflower seed yogurt on the market. It's made of 5 whole food ingredients. It's dairy-free, plant-based, low in sugar, high in protein, and it's even packaged in this adorable reusable glass jar. That's everything you asked for, right?
So cute. Yeah, that is so cool. How is it made?
Well, it's just like dairy yogurt except without the cow, so it's much better for the environment. It's traditionally fermented with 5 bacteria strains, which makes it a true probiotic and super gut friendly, unlike those others in front of you. It's also high in polyunsaturated fats, which are the good fats and will satiate you throughout the day. You gotta try it.
All right. This is so good. This is totally what I want to eat for breakfast.
Oh, did I not mention that it's delicious?
Hi, I'm Ariane.
And I'm Brett, and we're the founders of Sonobloom. 4 years ago, we dropped everything in our lives and dedicated ourselves 150% to building our dream. During this time, I spent thousands of hours in the kitchen perfecting our formula, while also building strong relationships with local retailers such as The Wedge and distributors like Twin City Co-op Partners.
And I was organizing the hundreds of sampling and promo events we participated in over the years. People loved our samples and always came back for more, confirming our assumption that people are truly craving something new and different.
Ariane, I wonder though, is there really a market for Sonobloom?
I'm so glad you asked. Let's take a look. Next slide. The dairy-free market is expected to reach $7.4 billion by 2027, and demand is growing like crazy due to an increase in lactose intolerance, veganism, paleo diets, and more. While the dairy yogurt industry has been struggling in recent years, the plant-based yogurt sector is up in value 56% from 2015, indicating that there's plenty of room for Sunabloom in this quickly growing market.
Wow, my mind is blown. We're really excited about the future and making Sunabloom mainstream. Join us on this journey. We need you and you need us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to both of you for waking everybody up on a webinar. Amazing.
That is our thing.
Yeah. I almost feel like you just answered this with your personality, but how do you win customers over who are not vegan or might be less willing to taste outside of the box?
Sure, it's a great question. This is totally an accessible product for everybody, not just for dietary purposes, but mostly for environmental reasons. I think that's a really easy sell for most people.
Also taste too. I mean, so we launched with our plain flavor very strategically because that was where we really felt that was where the demand was based on our consumer research. But we are we're actually working pretty intensely on flavor development right now too. And we think that'll also be a really strong angle for pulling in kids and people who might be a little bit skeptical of something, you know, this different. But I think I would say objectively, like when people taste it, they just like the way it tastes. They're not, I mean, we have plenty of people who love it, who, you know, eat lots of dairy and aren't necessarily eating it because it's an alternative. They're eating it because they like the way it tastes. So
awesome. All right, great job, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Feel free to mute and unvideo, and we'll move on to the packaging lab. And Dan.
Great, thank you. Go to the first slide.
There you go.
Great, so what is the packaging lab? We built the packaging lab because we realized that finding high quality packaging for small businesses and startups can really be challenging, if not impossible to find. So we started with a vision that high quality, great packaging should be accessible to everyone and it should be easy. And so we looked at how can we change kind of the status quo within packaging. I guess we're talking about flexible packaging. So film and stand-up pouches like you might see on the right side of the screen. So we looked at some of the things that really are a struggle for small businesses and startups if they want to compete with large manufacturers. And so through that, we actually have a number of firsts. So we made our first pouch in October of 2019. And we're the first company in the world that's started in packaging based entirely on the needs of small businesses and startups. That is our focus. So we're also the first to develop an online order process for flexible packaging where you can order start to finish online without having to wait for somebody to call you back. There's no minimum order quantity. We can ship as fast as 24 hours. And we provide design support at no charge. And a completely adhesive-free recyclable pouch. Really, the first company in the world to be able to offer a completely recyclable, adhesive-free pouch where it's just a poly that can go back into another product. And we're based in Minnesota, in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and but really with an international reach. In this short time, we've actually shipped multiple places outside of the U.S. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So why did we start this? The market's changing, e-commerce, Amazon, lots of people, we're seeing that already with the presentation so far. We have more opportunities than ever to start a business, start a food business. And it's also very difficult to find packaging to be able to look like you want to look when you're starting a small business. So we've seen also consumer dynamics are changing. So people want to support more local companies, which also gives people opportunities to start new businesses. So there's also a drive for large manufacturers to have small, unique niche brands. And so that means smaller run sizes where the lack of a minimum order makes a big difference. So the industry itself is changing quite a bit, and or the market is changing quite a bit, but the packaging industry hasn't. And so we set out to change that. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, we'll just leave that of our plant. So go ahead.
Oh, We were going to give you a second to wrap it up, but that's
Oh, okay. Well, so really in October, from October 19 to June, you can see that grown fairly rapidly. It's gotten out. We made about a $4.5 million investment in state-of-the-art equipment in order to be able to meet that 24-hour turnaround. So.
Okay, great. Good job. So the judges were asking for some clarity on your target market. What does the customer look like for this type of rapid packaging?
Really, there's two kinds of customers that need this. A lot of it is going to be a small business that might be starting out. The typical lead times for flexible packaging range from as fast as maybe 6 to 8 weeks to really more the standard of about 12 weeks. So we're really changing the dynamic quite a bit. So anybody that needs packaging quicker, but the other part of that is going to be even large manufacturers that are turning around, have new product introductions or test markets, and it's wasn't a surprise, but most of our customers so far, our standard lead time is 5 days, but most of them are asking to get their packaging even faster than that. So, 3, 4, or 24 hours. So, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, sounds good. Good job, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feel free to mute your video. And up next, we have Adam from Vertical Malt. So Adam, if you want to, yep, I think I hear you, and now I see you. Great, take it away, Adam.
All right, well, thank you so much. You can advance to the next, there we go. Wow, thanks for sticking with us here. Welcome to Vertical Malt, and Vertical Malt grows and malts cereal grains for craft brewers and distillers. The craft brewing and craft distilling markets have shown a lot of resiliency, and this year is no different. There's been a lot of historical growth over the past 30 some odd years in both of those industries, certainly craft distilling more so recently, but those are industries that it's good to be in at this particular moment in time. So our competitive advantage in the marketplace comes from our vertically integrated process. And what I mean by that is that we actually do offer a complete farm to table story for the malt that we produce. We offer documentation for traceability and origin on all our products, which are of course Minnesota grown and malted. Go ahead and advance to the next slide. So there's a lot to cover on this slide. I don't have a lot of words there, but all of the images you see really illustrate just how expansive what we're doing in the malt house. A lot of people don't really realize just how much and how many steps there are in producing something that seems as simple as, say, beer, for instance. But we literally start with seeds out at the farm. We grow those seeds into mature plants, of course, harvest it, and it comes into our own malting, our own malt house, which is something that we built ourselves. There's not a lot of equipment out there for small scale malting operations, so that's all custom built machinery right here locally outside of Crookston, Minnesota. And malting itself is a science that relies heavily on chemistry and biology and all that good stuff. But of course, the end product, beer, spirits, all that kind of good stuff, that's really our target. And it's a fascinating process that I'm really excited to be offering locally grown and vertically malted grains for distillers and brewers. So go ahead and advance to the next slide. So we are, in fact, looking to grow. Our pilot plant is currently at capacity. This year illustrates almost more than any other year to date, just how much we need to expand, actually. There was some pretty big question marks early in the year. April and May, we weren't sure if we were going to see a lot of strength this year, but lo and behold, by the time we're into April now, we're having a heck of a time just keeping up with demand. So we are in the midst of planning that expansion. We've already come to grips with what the new plant's going to look like, what the layout looks like. We've got a lot of that planning is out for bid right now. We've outlined budgets and all that kind of stuff. The projections have been out and have been independently reviewed. And we're hoping to have some sort of new operation online sometime in the first half of 2021. That's what I've got to offer as far as the short and sweet plan, at least. And I'd love to take some whatever questions you might have.
Okay, question here. So Adam, how would you grow geographically given the desire to limit transportation of grain?
So that's a great question. Our focus is really on the local market. The funny thing about malt is that barley is grown largely throughout the Midwest and certainly the upper Midwest and parts of Canada, Montana, Idaho, even Oregon. Now we're advantageous. We're dryland farming up here, so that's something that we're really proud of. We're also located in a pretty geographical sweet spot right here in the Red River Valley of Minnesota. So our goal is not necessarily to expand outside of a regional market, at least not initially. We'd like to keep that footprint pretty small in the short term. I think the biggest piece of that is when we look at what major competitors are out there. If we're looking at Great Western or RAR or any of these great big guys, they've already got national distribution chains. We're really not interested in competing with that. I would be far more interested in developing new varieties of grain, different types of grain. You know, Kernza was mentioned in one of the earlier presentations. We'd love to malt Kernza. I think that'd be great. That's something we've been talking about for years. Same thing with triticale and sorghum and millet and all kinds of interesting grains. Once we're doing that level of specialty grain, that's something that we would look at perhaps a North American market at large, but really that would be small quantities at that point. So.
Great, sounds good. Little networking already happening in the showcase. I love it. Okay, good job, Adam. Last presentation, everyone. Willows, we have Christina coming in. If you want to unmute and show some video.
Great.
There you are. Or at least I hear you. I don't know if I see you yet, but.
Oh, do you see me now?
There you are. Great. Okay, I'll go away.
Half of Americans buy plant-based milks, and that number is growing every day. The US market is expected to reach 3.2 billion by 2024, and oat milk sales grew 662% in 2019. People buy plant-based milks because they want to make healthy choices. The problem is the vast majority of plant-based milks out there are only masquerading as healthy. And when it comes to oat milks in particular, we discovered they're stripped of the whole grain, sort of like a highly processed white bread, making them mostly oat sugar and very little of all the good stuff we associate with oats. For example, when you talk to nutritionists, they're finding that leading oat milk on the market has a glycemic index roughly equal to that of Coca-Cola. Next slide, please. Next slide. Plant milk drinkers are asking for all kinds of things like organic and non-GMO, especially since most oats have a lot of Roundup, low sugar, nutrients that give them benefits like fiber and protein, no harmful ingredients like phosphates, and no inflammatory oils like canola or rapeseed oil. Next slide. Willows is the new paradigm of plant milks. We are reimagining the plant milk space with products that people can feel good about drinking every day. Willa's organic whole grain oat milk uses our grandmother Willa's recipe and our unique trade secret approach to create a creamy oat milk with the entire whole oat grain. Only Willa's keeps the soul of the oat intact, and that means you get all of the protein and fiber with less sugar. We use all organic, non-GMO plant-based ingredients, and we have no food waste in our process, which is better for the planet. The thing is, it wasn't enough for us to create the healthiest and most sustainable oat milk. It had to be the tastiest, and in blind taste tests, Willa's outperforms all of the competition. As it turns out, whole ingredients from nature taste better. Willa's tastes so delicious, in fact, Michelin-starred chef and sustainable food pioneer Diane Barber has come on board as an advisor to help us propel into the culinary world and garner PR. Since our launch in June, we have already done $28,000 in sales, and we continue to capitalize on the enormous growth we're currently seeing in the healthy food space on Amazon. To help us get there, one of our investors is covering our Amazon logistics, Amazon consulting, and Amazon advertising costs. And based on our early performance, we're projected to do 2 to 3 million in our first year on Amazon alone. We'll leverage Amazon also as a platform for visibility and a path toward a retail launch in Whole Foods. We're already selling to retailers and coffee shops, and we're continuing to grow those channels. We raised $400,000 in our angel round, which includes a $100,000 investment from the premier distributor in New York, who's incentivizing his sales team to sell Willis. And if you're interested, we haven't closed this round yet. Next year, we're heading into our Series A. Join us in leading the entire plant milk category on a path to honest goodness.
Great job. Okay, last question. Your original line was for baristas, and with coffee shops kind of being slow to open, how are you guys planning to tackle the CPG consumer?
2020 has really been a year of resiliency for us. When we started, we were really focused on the barista market, food service, there's great margins there. But it became clear that when we were about to launch right before the lockdown, we needed to shift some things. And so thankfully there have been some challenges, but also some really big opportunities for us. Plant milks are selling like crazy during COVID. Oat milk sales are up higher than hand sanitizer because people are cooking from home, they're drinking coffee at home. And so that has just created a whole new aperture for us. We're launching on Amazon partly to just capitalize as quickly as we can on all of the digital and online sales in grocery, particularly in healthy products. And then talking to our consumers, we've learned that they use oat milk for all different kinds of things. So it's not just coffee, they're using it to bake, they're using it to make creamy sauces, they're making mashed potatoes. So that's allowed us to realize, oh my gosh, there's all of these opportunities for products and innovations, and even just the way we do content has changed to kind of capitalize on that opportunity to help people use their oat milk in more interesting ways at home. And then the other thing that COVID has allowed us to do is just kind of rethink our targets. So we were really focused on baristas. Now we're getting to know the end consumer better. We're understanding all these use cases I mentioned, and we're understanding that this culinary option is a huge opportunity. So we've been getting introduced to chefs, restaurateurs, celebrity chefs, and we're going to be doing online events with them and also targeting them as kind of another consumer as well as an influencer to our end consumer.
Awesome, exciting. Great, you're all done. So we're gonna bring Jess back, I think. There you are. Feel free to mute Christina, and you can hide from the rest of us.
Well, congratulations. Everybody did a really fantastic job. So I hope all of you founders and pitchers are proud. It is now time for the audience to play a role and to vote for your favorite pitch. The winner of this prize that's furnished by General Mills and 301 Inc. will be $500. So it's, and with all these scrappy startups and how early stage they are, every little bit helps. So please take a moment to vote. While you are doing that, I'm going to have Jamie advance to the next slide, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about one of our fantastic partners who is offering another prize as part of our process. They're not going to award it today because our Minnesota Cup judges will actually be doing the selection, but I'm really excited to thank and share a little bit of information about the Minnesota Department of Agriculture's Most Ready to Grow Award. It's funded through the New Markets program at the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, and it's awarded to a business that is seen as the most ready to scale to a broader market. So the $2,500 in the award can be used to participate in a Minnesota pavilion at a national trade show. It can be used for e-commerce, merchandising, or in-store demos. Obviously, we're all in a new world. It'll be interesting to see when the Expo West and other national trade shows come back, but there's still a ton of opportunity to leverage those resources as these Minnesota companies are trying to reach national markets and scale. So we're super grateful to the Minnesota Department of Ag for funding that. And we will announce who is selected as the winner of that prize when we announce the finalists on August 17th. So stay tuned for that. I think I'm looking at the percentage of people who voted, and it's looking pretty close to everyone. So I think, do you feel like we're good to end the poll, Jamie, and share the results? Okay.
80% is pretty good.
Yeah, lovely. Well, back up one slide, and I will end the polling and announce that the favorite pitch was Sunabloom. So congratulations. We'll just like insert or imagine some applause music. But thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, congratulations. And thank you again to General Mills and 301 Inc. for furnishing that prize. But now let's move forward to the JT Mega Scale Award, and I will turn it over to Anna Braun.
Hello, thank you. Awesome job to all the semifinalists. It's always so inspiring to see the innovation that's happening in the food, ag, and beverage space in our own backyard. I'm Anna Braun, and I'm with JT, a Minneapolis-based food advertising agency. So we're dedicated exclusively to the food and beverage space. This is the third year that we've had the opportunity to participate and be part of Minnesota Cup. And it's also the third year that we've had the Scale Award, which is an award that we give away to one of the semifinalists of the top 10. And it's $25,000 of in-kind support for marketing and advertising efforts. And this year, our team, there were a lot of great contestants, a lot of great semifinalists, so we had a tough time, but when we really looked at all of the semifinalists, we were very excited to land on someone who we selected because we strongly believe in the mission that they're behind, the impact that they can have on the local economy, and we also believe that their product is phenomenal in a quickly growing global food frozen category. So this year, we'd like to announce that the winner is Hoyo. So thank you and congratulations, and we're really excited to work together.
Thank you so much.
Congrats, Miriam. And thank you so much, Anna, for giving that prize away. We're grateful to have you guys involved, and it's always been a transformative award for the semifinalists that have received it in the past. So thank you so much. Okay. So I think that we're pretty close to being done, you guys. I think the efficiency of being almost at the top of the hour is amazing, but I just wanted to thank you all again so much for participating, for spending an hour of your day with us to meet some of these incredible food and ag companies coming from Minnesota. If you are excited to see who does advance and to potentially watch another round of pitches, we will be hosting our final award ceremony live on Tuesday, September 22nd. We'll be streaming it. And in addition to the division winner from Food, Ag, and Beverage, these pitches that you've seen, you'll be able to see the winner from our other 8 divisions. So please put that date on your calendar, and we will be following up with you to sign up and register for that event. And just so you know what's happening to these other semifinalist companies next, our fantastic volunteer Food, Ag, and Bev judges will be selecting 3 companies among these 10 to move forward to our final round, at which point they will present one more longer 12-minute pitch to those judges and have a more robust Q&A session, at which point the judges will select a winner, a runner-up, and a 3rd place. The winner will take home $30,000 in non-dilutive seed funding, the runner-up $5,000, and that winning division, that division winner will go on to compete against the other division winners for our $50,000 grand prize. So we have more money to give away. We have more opportunities for these companies to continue to hone their pitches and to mature as founders. And we're just grateful again to all of our fantastic sponsors and to all of you for supporting us as we do this work. So congrats again to the semifinalists who pitched, and we'll let you go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.